This is the full weekly reading for thinkers, feelers, doers, and builders. This week's theme is integration, taking something that happened to you and making it part of who you are instead of something you're still carrying. Hi, I'm Lori. I'm a tarot reader and a spiritual counselor. And each week I share intuitive messages to help you reconnect with your inner guidance. In my work with clients, I've noticed that people tend to process life in 4 different ways: as thinkers, feelers, doers, and builders. And if you'd like to discover which one tends to be your starting point, I created a short quiz you can take, and the link is in the description below. Each of these ways of moving through life also connects with the suits in the minor arcana. Thinkers often relate and connect to the swords, feelers to the cups, doers to the wands, and builders to pentacles. And most of us naturally lean toward one, although we do have all 4 within us. The beauty about this system is that some weeks you may lean more toward feeling things deeply. Some weeks you may feel like, or you may be leaning more toward your thinking and you're in your head, or you're in a doing phase, or you're trying to build something. Whatever it is, follow that one for the week, or take the quiz and follow the one that you most lean toward. It's an organic system, and you can use it with how it works best for you. This week's theme is integration. How to take something that's happening to you or that's happened to you and make it part of who you are, rather than something that you're still carrying or holding on to or letting weigh you down. So let's take a look at the cards for this week. We're going to start with the thinkers, and thinkers are people who tend to process life through the mind. So let's take a look at this week's theme of integration for the thinkers. All right. So with the thinkers, it's interesting because it's showing that all your needs are being met, and your integration comes from understanding that everything that you think you need is already there. All of your needs are being met. It's just about recognizing that and enjoying life and being in the moment rather than trying to think 3 steps ahead. It is showing, because that's what's going to dissipate your energy. It's because you're going to be out of your body. You're going to dissociate. And when you decide to be present and be in your body, it'll feel lighter. So your integration this week is around knowing that everything you need is already in front of you. You don't have to think of more things that you need. You don't have to think of other ways to approach it. You've got it all. You just need to go into action now. And it is showing that it's about recognizing what is showing up to support you, instead of focusing on what's lacking and what you think you need more of. So instead, switch your brain and your mind over to focusing on what is showing up. What are you doing well? What pieces are already there that you can strengthen? Because in doing that, you're going to see past the surface of something. Something may be presenting itself. Someone may be presenting something that at first glance, you're going to want to resist and get upset with the person. But my sense is when you look deeper, you're going to realize that they're saying exactly the same thing that you're saying. They're just saying it in a different way. They're using different languaging. And so you're taking offense to it. And it is showing that it's going to really help you know how to communicate with this person moving forward and how to strengthen your relationship. So, my thinkers, be aware that everything that you already need is in front of you, rather than thinking about recreating or rebuilding something. Work with what you have and be present. All right, now we're going to look at my feelers, and feelers are connected to the cups. So feelers are people who tend to move through life through the heart. So let's see what you're being urged to practice integration this week with, or what you're being asked to integrate. Being more patient and not having regrets. Being more patient with what's unfolding in an emotional way with a relationship instead of second guessing. Let it play out a little while this week before thinking you should have done something different, or you could have done this, or what would have happened if this. No, be patient. It feels like something is sinking in with someone. It's just taking them a little bit longer. And that's where you practicing patience comes in. So it's about integrating patience as you're dealing with things this week and realizing that emotionally, some people move at a slower pace than you do in regards to this situation. It's not about abandoning the path and finding a new one. It's about grounding yourself and giving it's showing 2 weeks. Give it the next 2 weeks. Give it time for that person to catch up emotionally instead of thinking that it would be better if they moved at the same pace that you did. Sometimes as feelers, we realize and we get to a place where we know how we feel about someone. And it takes them a little while to catch up, because if they are a thinker, they may be in their head looking at it from all different angles. If they are a builder, they may be looking at how to build something lasting, or they may be wondering if it's going to last. And if they're a doer, they may be hesitating doing anything because they've been hurt in the past. So as a feeler, sometimes we get to a place of emotional understanding more quickly than other people, and it feels like that is what's happening this week. So don't shut down. You're going to be tempted to shut down and withdraw to keep yourself safe, but try to find humor in your week. Try to create some lightness around it, and you're really going to be happy that you did. So integrate some patience with your week, and when you do, you're going to start seeing results. And if you slow down long enough, rather than demanding that somebody express how they feel, you'll see past the surface of it and you'll know how they feel. You just got to give it a little time. Next, I'm going to give the reading for my doers, people who tend to move through life through action and momentum. So this is how, or what you're meant to integrate this week, my doers. You're meant to integrate what's been, I feel like things have been triggering you lately. Old patterns have been surfacing. How do you go into action when you're feeling anxious? How do you go into action when you feel sad? How does it affect your action when you're sad? How do your different emotions affect the way that you go into action? You're meant to integrate and recognize when you're feeling a certain way, how that affects your action and your forward movement. So when you're feeling angry, that may affect your forward movement in one way. You may get obstinate and do the exact opposite, like run in the opposite direction. If you're sad, you may just stop all movement. If you're in a good mood, you may just go with the flow. Your actions may just, I'll take everything into account. I'll just roll with it. If you're scared, your actions may be, if you're being triggered or your fears are being triggered, your actions may reflect that. So take a look at how your different emotions are triggering the way that you go into action. That's what you're meant to integrate, because It is talking about in the area of setting boundaries, in the area of speaking up for yourself, in the area of going into action around personal boundaries and speaking up for yourself. How do you do that when you're feeling different ways? It is showing that it's different when you're feeling a sense of levity, a sense of fun. It's not a problem for you. But when conflict arises for you, you're going into action to please someone else first, or to purposely hold off and withhold because you might be upset. So start to look at how your different emotions get integrated into the way that you go into action this week, because it is showing that you are moving towards a position of leadership and a position of people recognizing that, and you are being observed and viewed either at work or in a personal situation that's going to affect a decision someone makes as far as what position to put you in. And it's a good one, and it's going to help you. So start to recognize how you are integrating your actions and how they're affecting your actions this week. And if you notice that you're feeling angry, and normally you'd push back or you'd refuse to budge, ask yourself, if I wasn't angry, would I go into action in a different way? And follow that. If I wasn't sad, would I go into action in a different way? If I wasn't scared, would I go into action in a different way? And go into action as though you were in a space of being in the flow. And it's going to make a huge difference for you. All right. Let's do the weekly reading for my builders, the people who tend to move through life through creating structure, stability, and foundation. So let's see how you're working with integration this week and the concept of integration. Let's see. Well, you and someone else are not seeing eye to eye. So it's about integrating other points of view this week for my builders. Not just doing it your way, which you can get stubborn when you want to do things your way, but integrate the different opinions and the different perspectives of at least one other person that you can trust. Because it is showing that when you try to carry it all your own this week, you're going to get anxious and you're going to doubt yourself, or you're going to overwork yourself. It's through the union of and the integration of your perspective on the situation and one other person's perspective that's going to give you both the answer that you're looking for. Yeah, you can trust that other person's point of view, and it will really help create more of a sense of peace, and it'll get things moving again. It's going to go a long way in that person trusting that they can express themselves around you and knowing that they are heard. And that's really going to build a strong partnership, because that's what it's been missing. That's why the lightness in the partnership has been lost, because you've been not hearing the input of somebody else. So it's really important to integrate the input of another person this week and create a solution that is a marriage between your ideas and their ideas. And I really feel like it's going to balance out really well. It really feels like it's going to create some great momentum going into June, into the month of June, and possibly some good financial results. So your integration is about taking another person's point of view into consideration as you move forward too. So if something in this reading opened up a question that you want to explore more personally, I do one-on-one readings and spiritual counseling sessions, and the link to book that is in the description below. I'd love to hear in the comments how your particular message of integration landed for you. I would love, love, love to hear that. And if you want to go deeper with your specific type, whether you're a thinker, a feeler, a doer, or a builder, I've linked this week's readings in a playlist below. And Monday through Thursday, each type will be getting their own individual reading. Subscribe so you don't miss next week's messages, and I'll see you in the next reading. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.